يا رسول الله دلني على عمل إذا أنا عملته أحبني الله وأحبني الناس. فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ازهد في الدنيا يحبك الله وازهد فيما في أيدي الناس يحبوك أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. Honorable scholars, respected brothers and elders, we continue discussing our obligation towards our friends. This is our third Jumu'ah for this topic and hopefully the final one, and we can wrap it up inshallah. Before we progress with today's topic, let us just reflect for a moment. If these are my obligations towards my fellow friends, all the more reason it would apply to my blood brother. If this is the teachings that Islam impresses upon me that I need to extend towards a fellow friend, how much more would I be obligated to extend the same, if not better, towards my blood brother? So the hadith I quoted before you is in the Sunan of Ibn Majah, rahmatullah alayhi, hadith number 4102, 4102. Sahal bin Sa'ad al-Sa'idi radiyallahu anhu said, a person came to Habib sallallahu alayhi wasallam and said, O Nabi of Allah, tell me of an action, if I am to practice it, Allah will love me and the people will also love me. So Habib sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, izhad fi dunya yuhibbuka Allah. Have no strong desire and inclination towards, and you will become the beloved of Allah. Number two, wazhad fima fi aydin nas. And have no desire for the belongings of others, and people will love you. So as a friend, what do I see? I make every effort to remove distress from the life of my friend. I may make every effort to bring comfort to my friend, but I'm not there for an ulterior motive to benefit from his wealth. Hey, nice man, where you got this from? You didn't get from me. Now next time you got something, what is he going to do? Hide it from you. وَازْهَدْ فِي مَا فِي أَيْدِ النَّاسِ. Do not be greedy for what others have. So not only do we put an end to the distress and discomfort of someone, we bring comfort to him with no intention of benefiting from it. The ayat I recited before you is from Surah Yusuf. When Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam met his brother Binyamin, and the other brothers were unaware, he took him one side, he said, Inni ana akhuka, fala tabta'is bima kanu ya'malun. Listen, I'm your brother. Don't worry of what they're doing. Don't be grieved. The ulama say in the commentary of this, Al-aslu fil ukhuwa, ay yudhib al-akhu an akhihi al-bu's. The primary responsibility of a brother is put an end to the distress and discomfort of your brother. So what he told him, the first thing is he comforted him. So one primary obligation of mine towards my friend, I must comfort him in a way that I put an end to his grief. And then I put him on a path of success and prosperity. I make no effort to restrict or curb his growth. Sometimes we help a person, and then if he surpasses us, now we become uneasy. So we put him on the, Allah opens a way for him, alhamdulillah, we are happy for him. But don't be greedy for what others have. Allah give us tawfiq, inshallah. There's a beautiful incident mentioned in the books of history. He had one servant by the name of Masroor. And then he had a minister by the name of Ja'far bin Yahya al-Barmaki. And one day while sitting with this minister early in the morning, it is mentioned about Harun Rashid, أنه أرق ذات ليلة أرقا شديدا. He suffered from intense insomnia the previous night. Allah make it easy for those that are suffering from this and all other form of illnesses, and Allah grant complete shifa, inshallah. On a lighter note, they say if you cannot fall off quickly, you must sleep on the edge of the bed. You'll fall off quickly. أنه أرق ذات ليلة أرقا شديدا فقال لوزيره جعفر بن يحيى البرمكي إني أرقت هذه الليلة وضاق صدري ولم أعرف ما أصنع. Listen, last night I had a bad night. I was tossing and turning and I could not secure any sleep. It was really tough. I don't know what to do. It's depressing me. مسرور واقفا أمامه. And not far from there, standing. So the king is, the ruler is speaking to his minister, and the servant happens to be nearby. And the ruler is expressing his pain of suffering from insomnia the previous night. And all of a sudden the servant starts laughing. So obviously the ruler gets offended. Ma yudhikuk, istihza'an bi am istighfafa. What makes you laugh? You're mocking at me. So that servant said, وَقَرَابَتِكَ مِنْ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ صَلَى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمْ مَا فَعَلْتُ ذَلِكَ عَمَدًا وَالْعَفُوَ يَا أَمِيرَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَلَكِنِّي خَرَجْتُ بِالْأَمْسِ أَتَمَشَّى بِظَاهِرِ الْقَصْرِ إِلَى أَنْ جِئْتُ إِلَى جَانِبِ الدَّجْلَةِ فَوَجَدْتُ النَّاسَ مُجْتَمِعِينَ عَلَى رَجُلٍ يُضْحِكُ النَّاسِ إِلَيْهِ. My apologies, Your Excellency. Please forgive me. By Allah, I did not intend to mock at you in any way. You are from the family of Habib sallallahu alayhi wasallam. How can I ever do something uncouth like that? But yesterday, I went out and I was walking and I went past the palace and I came to the river Euphrates and I seen nearby there people gathered around this one comedian. And he was making jokes and he was making people laugh. فَتَفَكَّرْتُ فِي شَيْءٍ مِّن كَلَامِهِ وَحَدِيثِهِ فَضَحِكْتُ. So while standing here, I recall something that he said yesterday, and that just made me laugh. By Allah, I was not laughing at you in any way. So the Khalifa Harun al-Rashid was sad and depressed. He said, "I'tini sa'ata bih." Comedian, someone that's going to make me happy and laugh, bring him here immediately. So Masroor, the servant, goes to call Ibn al-Maghazili, who was the comedian. So he comes to Ibn al-Maghazili, "Ajib Amir al-Mu'mineen." The Khalifa is calling you. He said, "Sam'an wa ta'a." I'm on my way. I accept his call. So the Khadim, the servant, was greedy. He said, بِشَرْطِ أَنَّهُ إِذَا أَنْعَمَ عَلَيْكَ بِشَيْءٍ يَكُونُ لَكَ فِيهِ الرُّبُعُ وَالْبَقِيَّةُ لِي. Listen, he's calling you. You're a comedian. You'll make him laugh. He'll pay you. The condition, I brought the news to you. I came to call you. Quarter for you, the balance for me. فقال ابن المغازلي بل اجعل النصف لي ولك النصف. He said, no man, don't be so greedy, let's go half-half. The comedian said, let's go half-half. So Maghazili, الثلث لي ولك الثلثان. فأجابه إلى ذلك بعد جهد عظيم. He said, okay, let's settle on this. You don't want to go half-half? 1/3 for me, 2/3 for you. He initially declined, and after lots of effort, the comedian managed to convince him, let's settle 2/3 for you, 1/3 for me. So the man that's doing the effort, he's only securing 1/3, but because I'm inviting you. It's my contact. So they come to Khalifa. Khalifa Rashid says, listen, in anta adhaktani, a'taytuka 500 dinarin. Wa in lam tudhikni, darabtuka bihadha. Make me laugh, I'll give you 500 dirhams. Dirhams or dinars, I can't recall. I'll give you 500. And if you do not make me laugh, you do not succeed, then I'll take the sock and hit you with it 3 times. فقال ابن المغازلي في نفسه وما عسى أن تكون 3 ضربات بهذا الجراب وظن في نفسه أن. So Ibn al-Maghazili said, for me it's a win-win deal. 500, if not 3 shots with the sock. He thought the sock was empty, there's nothing in it. ويتمسخر ويفعل أفعالا عجيبة تضحك الجلمود فلم يضحك الرشيد ولم يبتسم. And then he started with his jokes, and he's presenting the most funny things. The narration says that will even make a rock laugh. But the Khalifa doesn't even smile. He tried, no luck. He said, I give up. استحقيت الضرب. Now you need to take the 3 shots. So he picked up the sock, وَلَفَّهُ, he tied it, وَكَانَ فِيهِ 4 زَلَطَاتٍ كُلُّ وَاحِدَةٍ. There was 4 pebbles in it. Very weighty pebbles. Each one weighed 2 ritl. 1 ritl is just in half a kilo. So, 4, وَكَانَ فِيهِ 4 زَلَطَات, 4 of them. And each one weighs a kilo. So, 8 of that, each one weighs a kilo. So 8 kilos, he picked him up. Now, he hit him 1 shot. صَرَخَ صَرْخَةً عَظِيمَةً. He started screaming out of pain. He started, الْعَفْوِ يَا أَمِيرَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ, الْعَفْوِ يَا أَمِيرَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. اسمع مني كلمتين I just have something to request to you. Let me just make one request and then you can hit me the other 2 shots. He said, قُلْ مَا بَدَالَكَ. Go ahead, say what you want to say. إِنَّمَا سُرُورًا شَرَطَ عَلَيَّ شَرْطًا وَاتَّفَقْتُ أَنَا وَإِيَّاهُ عَلَى مَصْلِحَةٍ وَهُوَ أَنَّ مَا حَصَلَ لِي مِنَ الصَّدَقَاتِ يَكُونُ لَهُ فِيهِ الثُّلُثَانِ وَلِي فِيهِ الثُّلُثِ. Listen, myself and your servant Masroor came to an agreement. Whatever the Khalifa gives me, 1/3 for me, 2/3 for him. You said you're going to hit me 3 shots. فَأَخَذْتُ نَصِيبِي. I've taken my 1/3, I've taken my share, and now it's his turn to take the remaining. So this made the Khalifa laugh. This made the Khalifa laugh. And then Masroor was brought forward. He was lashed one, and then he said, وَهَبْتُهُ الْبَاقِي. You know what, I'm going to be kind, I'm going to give him the balance as a gift from my side. The Khalifa laughed again, and he gave each one of them 500. The lesson for us, don't be greedy for what others have. Don't be greedy for what others have. Allah's blessed someone, he's my friend. Let me not be a matlab Ali that I want all what he has. Let me be truly happy for him. Let me be truly happy for him. And if we are not happy for the progress of our friend, then in reality we are nothing less than enemies. Just give it thought. I need to celebrate the accomplishment of my friend. In English they say, look closely for those who do not clap when you win. Obviously we're not going to be clapping. Look closely for those who do not clap when you win. That's a subtle indication this man is jealous of my achievement. كَفَى بِالْمَرْءِ حَاسِدًا أَنْ يَغْتَمَّ وَقْتَ سُرُورِكَ. It's sufficient to render a person jealous if he's unhappy on our happy occasion. So if my friend has achieved something and that leaves me somewhat uneasy, I am jealous. I need to cure myself. Imam Ghazali rahmatullah alayhi has made mention of a unique incident on the strength of Bakr bin Abdullah. He says, كان لبعض الملوك رجلا يغشاه. One king had a person that would come and visit him, and he was very profound and articulate in his speech. And he would say, أحسن إلى المحسن بإحسانه فإن المسيء سيكفيكه إساءته. Be kind to the one who is kind. Reward the one who is kind and loyal. As for the one who is evil and nasty, ignore him. His outcome of his evil will suffice as his punishment. The one who is kind, you reward him. The one who is evil and nasty, you don't need to do anything. The outcome of his evil agenda will suffice as his punishment. So one of that king had one minister who became jealous that this man comes here, he speaks so profound, and the king is getting impressed by him. So he came by the king and he said, إن هذا الرجل الذي يقوم بحذائك ويقول ما يقول زعم أن الملك أبخر. He said, King, Your Excellency, Your Honor, I don't want to intrude, but I just want to mention to you that this person who is coming and speaking so profound words, he says that you have a bad breath. You suffer from what they call halitosis. You have a bad breath. So the king said, وَكَيْفَ يَصِحُّ ذَلِكَ عِنْدِي? How do I believe that? He said, next time he comes, call him close, and then tell him come nearer. You'll see when he comes near, he'll put his hand and cover his nose. لِأَلَّا يَشُمَّ مِنْكَ رِيحَ الْبَخْرِ. Because of the foul smell that he claims is emitting from your mouth. So the king said, okay. This man exited. He called that man who was profound in his speech, invited him home, fed him a meal in which he filled garlic. Just before it was his time to go to the king. So he fed him nicely a meal full of garlic vagar. And then the man came to the king. أحسن إلى المحسن بإحسانه فإن المسيء سيكفيكه إساءته. He presented his same story, his same words. Be kind to the one that is kind and good. As for the one that is evil, leave him. His outcome of his evil will suffice as his punishment. He said, Udnu minni, come close to me. So as he went closer, وضع يده على فيه لئلا يشم الملك منه رائحة الثوم. So he covered his mouth, in the process obviously covering his nose. فظن الملك في نفسه أن قد صدق. So the king said to himself, that man has spoken the truth. This is exactly what he did. وَكَانَ الْمَلِكُ إِلَّا بِصِلَةٍ أَوْ جَائِزَةٍ. And whenever the king wanted to reward someone, he would write a note to one of his governors with his own hand. So whenever he was writing an instruction, that's the time the recipient is receiving a handsome reward. So he took his page, his book, he wrote his note, he enclosed it, and gave it to this man and said, go with this to this Amil, this governor. So he leaves and he's going to the governor. What's the message in the note? إِذَا أَتَاكَ حَامِلُ كِتَابِي هَذَا فَاذْبَحُ. When the person carrying this note comes to you, as soon as you receive it, kill him. So this man leaves going. That jealous man meets him. Where are you off to? He said, I'm going to that minister. Why? Here is the king. إِنَّ الْمَلِكَ خَطَّ لِي بِخَطِّهِ بِصِلَةٍ. The king is going to reward me. I'm going to get my reward. So that means, give it to me rather. Give that letter to me, give that gift to me. That man was a good-hearted man, he gave it. This man now comes to the Amil, to the governor. The governor opens it and reads, Inna fi hadha al-kitab an athbahak. I'm being instructed to... He said, Laysa al-khattu li. Allah fi amri hatta turaji al-mad minds. Custom is not mine. Please consult with the king first and then you may go ahead. لَيْسَ لِكِتَابِ الْمَلِكِ مُرَاجَعَةً. How can I insult my ruler by asking him after he sent me a clear note? Finished, done. He killed him. That man that was profound in his speech, he comes, as was his habit, he comes back to the king. أَحْسِنْ إِلَى الْمُحْسِنِ بِإِحْسَانِهِ فَإِنَّ الْمُسِيءَ سَيَكْفِيكَهُ إِسَاءَتَهُ. Be kind to the one who is good to you, and as for the one that is evil, leave him. The hour is his punishment. He comes, he says as a king, how are you back here now? ما فعل الكتاب. Where's that letter? استوهبني فلان فوهبته له. I was walking, then your minister asked for it, so I gave it to him. He said, إنه زعم أنك قلت أني أبخر. But he told me that you claim that I suffer from halitosis and I have a bad breath. He said, by Allah, I never said anything like that. So you covered your nose. He said, that man fed me garlic, so I was covering my mouth not to inconvenience you. He said, irji' ila makanik. Now go to your lofty post. We've promoted you. فَقَدْ كُفِيَ الْمُسِيءُ بِإِسَاءَتِهِ. Your words have come true. The one who is evil, leave him. The outcome of his evil will suffice as his punishment. The message from this, someone is growing, let him grow. Someone is being prosperous, make dua Allah increase his prosperity. We do not try to curb and curtail and restrict the growth of others. In doing so, we are only destroying ourselves. In trying to restrict the growth of someone else, I am only destroying myself. One of the ways in which this is often revealed, when you see a person that can never compliment you on any good, a friend that always has something unpleasant to say. No man, your wife is giving you so much uphill. It's time you move on, boss. He got 3 times your problems. If I was you, I wouldn't have stayed in a marriage like this, really. Those are people to be careful of. Those are people to be careful of. When a man has absolutely nothing to say, that's his internal jealousy that is manifesting on his tongue. Sayyidina Uthman radiyallahu anhu said, Allah will reveal the secrets of the heart by the slip of the tongue. So when a person is talking like that, we know that's a jealous man. Beware of him. Allah protect us. And I ask myself, am I like that? Every time I see someone growing, now I want to curb his growth. Tell him something nasty. And in this regard, I share with you a very unique incident. Abu Muslim al-Khawlani rahmatullah alayhi was a great tabi'in. Some say his name was Abdullah bin Thuwab, some say Abdullah bin Abdullah, some say Abdullah bin Ubaid, some say Abdullah bin Auf, and some say Yaqub bin Auf. Anyway, he was known as Abu Muslim Khawlani. He was a great tabi'i who met Sayyidina Abu Bakr and Umar radiyallahu anhuma. The narration of the Hilya of Abu Nu'aym rahmatullah alayhi, كان أبو مسلم الخولاني إذا انصرف من المسجد إلى بيته كبر عند باب منزله. When he would return from the masjid, he would come home, come to the yard, and he would recite the takbir. فَتُكَبِّرُ إِمْرَأَتُهُ. His wife would say Allahu Akbar. So when he's by the entrance of the yard, he would say Allahu Akbar. Then he would come in the courtyard, Allahu Akbar, فَتُجِيبُهُ إِمْرَأَتُهُ. His wife would say Allahu Akbar. فَإِذَا بَلَغَ بَابَ بَيْتِهِ كَبَّرَ فَتُجِيبُهُ إِمْرَأَتُهُ. He would reach the door of his house, he would recite Allahu Akbar, and his wife would recite Allahu Akbar. فَانْصَرَفَ ذَاتَ لَيْلَةٍ مِّنَ الْمَسْجِدِ. One day he returned from the masjid, he came home, كَبَّرَ عِنْدَ بَابِ مَنْزِلِهِ فَلَمْ يُجِبْهُ أَحَدٍ. As was his custom, at the entrance of the yard, he said Allahu Akbar, no response. He progressed, came to the yard, the third Allahu Akbar by the door, no response. وَدَخَلَ الْبَيْتِ فَإِذَا الْبَيْتُ لَيْسَ فِيهِ سِرَاجٌ. He comes, he sees the house is dark, the lantern is not lit. What's happening? وَكَانَتْ إِمْرَأَتُهُ وَكَانَ إِذَا دَخَلَ بَيْتَهُ أَتَتْ إِمْرَأَتُهُ بِطَعَامِهِ وَأَخَذَ رِدَاءَهُ وَنَعْلَيْهِ. When he would return home, his wife was very diligent in serving him. She would take his shoes, she would take his shawl, she would then present the food. Now he comes home, it's dark. وَإِذَا إِمْرَأَتُهُ جَالِسَةٌ مُنَكَّسَةٌ تَنْكُتُ بِعُودٍ مَعَهَا. His wife is sitting, looking down, depressed. She's got a stick in her hand and she's rubbing the ground with that. تَنْكُتُ بِعُودٍ مَعَهَا. So he says, every day I come, I get such a warm welcome. Now she's sitting like, she drank a glass of vinegar and ate a lemon. What's happening? So he says, what's happening? What happened? So she responds and says, أَنْتَ لَكَ مَنْزِلَةٌ مِّن مُعَاوِيَةٍ فَلَوْ سَأَلْتَهُ فَأَخْدَمَنَا وَأَعْطَاكَ. You know what? You close to the Khalifa Muawiyah radiyallahu anhu. We don't have a servant. Why don't you ask Muawiyah radiyallahu anhu to give you a servant? And then at least we can have a servant and live happily. Abu Muslim Khawlani realized, this is not my wife talking. This is not the temperament of my wife. This is the influence of an evil friend. لَيْسَ مِنَّا مَنْ خَبَّبَ إِمْرَأَةً عَلَى زَوْجِهَا. Habib sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, he who incites a woman against her husband is not from us. He who incites and provokes a woman against her husband is not from us. This is an evil friend that came to visit my wife. This was never the way of my wife. He lifted his hand, Allahumma man afsada alayya imra'ati fa'a'mi basaraha. Allah, I had a happy wife and a happy life. I had a happy wife and a happy life. Allah, someone has negatively influenced my innocent wife. Allah, whoever has caused this problem in my home, I ask you to snatch their sight. One woman had come to visit her not long ago, and she told her, زوجك له منزلة من معاوية. Your husband is so close to Muawiyah. Why don't you ask him to ask Muawiyah radiyallahu anhu for something? And she was negatively influenced. You didn't go for holiday again this year. When you're renovating your home, those never protect us. And then the innocent wife falls for it. This woman that came to visit the wife of Abu Muslim Khawlani, she's sitting at home. فَإِذَا هِيَ قَدْ أَنْكَرَتْ بَصَرَهَا. All of a sudden, she sees, I cannot see. She realizes, I cannot see. مَا لِسِرَاجِكُمْ طُفِئ. Who off the light? No load shedding. Who off the light? They said this is as complicated problem. Mali sirajikum tufi. Who off the light? They said nobody off the light. فَعَرَفَتْ ذَنْبَهَا. She realized her mistake. She realized her mistake. Before we progress, when difficulty comes our way, we have so many sins, we don't know which one it is. Yes, she knew this is my problem. She came to Abu Muslim Khawlani rahmatullah alayh, and she said, I ask you to forgive me. Ask Allah to make dua that He restores I ask you to make dua to Allah that He restores my sight. فَرَحِمَهَا Abu Muslim al-Khawlani Abu Muslim pitied her. He made dua for her, and Allah restored her vision. Allah restored her vision. Forgive me for going over time. Allah forgive me. I end with this quotation. This is a very deep, profound quotation. A true friend is one who looks beyond your broken fence and compliments you for the flowers in your garden. A true friend is one who looks beyond your broken fence and compliments you for the flowers in your garden. May Allah give us that quality that we can be there to support our friends. We can be there to comfort our friends. As I said, primarily this will apply to our blood brothers. If I cannot see the prosperity of my brother, I'm not a brother. I'm an enemy. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from jealousy. May Allah make us those that be a means of comfort to others. And when we see prosperity and good coming in the lot of others, may Allah give us the tawfiq that we express joy and happiness from the bottom of our hearts. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.